So turning to privilege concerns, and I'm on slide 8 now. Privilege in the investigation context can be tricky and interesting. So in cross-border investigations, there are privilege can present challenges that are more complicated than just in a domestic situation. So under U.S. law, we have the sort of basics here of attorney-client privilege and work product doctrine, which will be your most regularly relied upon privileges or protections. So attorney-client privilege protects communications that are between the lawyer and client, intended to be and are kept confidential, and are for the purpose of obtaining legal advice. In contrast, the doctrine protects documents that are just prepared by or at the direction of an attorney in anticipation of litigation. And the privilege tends to be rather well protected by courts as long as the party hasn't waived it in some way. And we'll discuss how that might happen in an investigation. And the doctrine can be easier to overcome, although many documents are likely to contain both work product and attorney-client privilege protected information. So how does this work in the context of investigations? Because it applies to the client, that's been interpreted in the U.S. at least to generally mean that lawyers can have communications with all company employees, current employees. That's not necessarily the case in every country, where their privileges might be more narrowly tailored to a subset of employees at the company. It applies to communications and not facts, and this can be a fairly nuanced and sometimes debatable distinction between what's a fact and what's a communication, and what exactly is privileged and what isn't. Importantly, the attorney-client privilege does apply to non-attorneys and third parties as long as they're acting at the direction of counsel. So it's common, particularly in cross-border investigations, you might need translators or other local experts to assist in the investigation, and you want to make sure that any information conveyed to them is properly protected and doesn't result in a waiver of privileged material.